comments quite brief, but what I wanted to say is there is so much love for Australia in this room, for the connections between Nepal and Australia, and so it is very much my pleasure to be able to speak to you tonight, and so I'd like to thank Dwiraj and the team at AAERI for putting on this event. It is not often that you get the privilege of speaking to a converted audience, and I'm going to milk it for as much as I can. I very much appreciated the messages about the practices from the consultants. From the embassy, we like to thank the consultants for your very ethical practices here in Nepal, your consistency in focusing on students and on prepping the students for the best experience that they can have in Australia. I would agree with a lot of the comments from today's speakers that the experience in Australia is not just about an education. It's not just about the classroom, it is about the education that you get outside the classroom. It is the jobs that you take so that you can learn the language of communication. You can learn the language of business, of client-business relations. These are important lessons. It is also about how to strike that balance between work-life balance, study-life balance. Get out there and learn more about Australia. Learn more about the cultures, learn more about those lessons that you can take, that you absorb, whether it's drinking coffee in Melbourne's cafe culture, whether it is visiting medical facilities, working in medical facilities, using cosmetic products that advertise themselves as chemical-free. You absorb these sort of subconsciously, and then you bring them back to Nepal. This is the benefit of an international education. It supports a very dynamic industry, but it is also hugely important to a young country like Nepal to be able to build on these sort of subconscious lessons to build a strong economic future. So there are other takeaways that I have from tonight as well, and I would like to thank our keynote speaker, who sadly has left already. He made a lot of very good observations, a lot of very friendly observations about the Australian education sector. He's right that competition amongst the group of 8 does build and enforce improvements, but it also means that the regional education centres, the non-group of 8, they are also forced to compete to offer what we call, the Australian brand of education. It is a high-quality education, and it doesn't matter, and I'm very grateful to those who also spoke about the opportunities of education in a regional centre. I agree. I think having studied at ANU, and ANU is considered a regional centre, and my children having studied at regional centres, Canberra, that we have all benefited from that education. So I would like to thank him for acknowledging that. I think his comments about HECS, our tax system where we recover the cost of the education, it's highly controversial in Australia, but it is a mechanism where we do fund and are able to fund growth in education and growth in research. Some of the other takeaways that I have got from tonight, I heard words like trust and rigorous pre-screening. I would also encourage agents and consultants to continue in those practices, building up the brand awareness. It is not just about the group of 8, it is about Australia education brand, and about offering careers advice to young students. These are young people who have not left home. They don't really know what it is that they're going to face in Australia. And so they do rely on more experienced people, particularly yourselves, who are practitioners, you have experience in this education field, to be able to offer objective, real-life advice to these young students. I think that is invaluable, and whoever suggested it, thank you very much. I guess it was one of the first panel speakers. Thank you. I think that that would contribute to the success and particularly the transition of very young students who are moving to Australia, living away from home for the first time. And I think it is important for us to remember those vulnerabilities. Some of the other takeaways from tonight: momos with achars, hearts with, results focused with the Nepalese heart. That's a good one. I might take that one. I was also, from the same speaker, was described as tasa masu, fresh meat, evidently, because I've been here for less than for 12 months. I also would like to reiterate the comment that Vic also made from Austrade. Australia has a reputation as a warm, welcoming and open country. It is something that is part of our DNA. It is something that we are all proud of, and it is nothing that we actually really have to work very hard at. It just, in a sense, is, as I say, it's part of our DNA, and it is something that we are very keen to share with the peoples of Nepal and all of our other international students. We also need to focus on quality, integrity and sustainability in our education system, and I am pleased to note that the total number of international students will be going up by about 20,000 next year. That does open up opportunities for Nepal students as well. Some of the other takeaways from the second panel: why choose Australia? What did you enjoy about Australia? The weather. The weather came up a lot. That balance between study and life. Those other lessons, as I say, that you learn. The reputation of Australia's education institutions, whether it's the institution or the courses that you have particularly targeted. And the non-academic bonuses, which I've already spoken about, of a friendly, cosmopolitan society that does practice and live by egalitarianism. ABC TV, who knew that our public broadcaster would also rate a mention, but I would also like to back that, Paras up about that one. The ideas that you are exposed to when you are in multicultural classes in Australia, when you're in your tutorials, the ideas that you learn from other students, that you learn from your part-time jobs, that you brought back and made very successful businesses. And so the benefits of working in an alternative working environment, the fact that you can have flexible working environments, I think that was also a product of the time, but it was also a product of the fact that you're exposed to a different working culture. So I said I was going to keep this brief. Some of the other points that I make when I talk about the benefits of Australian education is that it does teach Nepali students entrepreneurism. Whether you are taught that formally in an academics or a business class, economics or a business management class, or whether you just see it and you absorb that. The entrepreneurism, I think the benefits speak for themselves with some of the people here in the room. And some who can't sadly join us tonight. And Gagan Pradhan, I always use his coffee culture example. And also Cam, who's here. Thank you, Cam. Just seeing the benefits of hospitality and bringing that education model to Nepal. I also like to flag that, yes, while people take advantage of the post-study work opportunities in Australia, they are raising vital capital that they can bring back here to Nepal to invest in their new businesses, their established businesses, growing businesses. But what we need, I guess, is an investment climate here that does welcome that new capital. So they're just a few of my observations. As I say, thank you so much, everybody, for the love that has been shown in this room tonight. I look forward to hearing more stories and exchanging a few more ideas with you. as the evening progresses. And just to let you know, I was at Kathmandu University earlier today and welcoming students from the University of Southern Queensland who are specialising in quantity surveying and land surveying and mapping. And just some of those discussions between the students, between the Nepali students and the Australian students. It is the beginning of a journey of a lifetime of learning and cooperation and friendship between our two countries and between our two societies. So for all of that, thank you very much. Dhanyabad, and have a nice evening.